welcome to Talking with Vantage People, where your two hosts, Rachel and Eric, are both green with envy over you and the fact that you already have curtains on your bedroom windows. We unfortunately have those terrible, terrible, terrible things called Venetian blinds. Venice, you should not be proud of your blinds.
No.
They're terrible. Curtains are much better than blinds, and my goal today is to put curtains up in the master bedroom where we five legs now.
Five legs, that's good.
That's pretty. That's a little bit more like it,
Yeah.
Um, so what I want to talk to you additionally about today is the importance of being mature. Today we're focusing on maturity as a theme. I'm mature, Rachel's mature, you all can be mature too. And it's so important to be mature. Because immature people, they're people who don't focus on their chores and getting things done and stuff. Don't hang curtains for 6 months. Those people are immature. Mature people like me, we hang curtains right away. No, Kamoto is not here. It's just me and Rachel.
Yeah.
And we're spending time together, having a wonderful day. But, you know, I've come to realize the importance of maturity. And it should not take you a full 7 months to hang up curtains in your new house.
Well, it's kind of like the dish towel. No,
the dish towels, right?
Yeah.
Neither Rachel nor I noticed or thought about when we were getting the house ready for the wedding, replacing our dish towels with actual dish towels. What we had used the dish towels is one like little yellow towel, I don't know what it was, and then a pillowcase. And we did all the stuff to make the house super nice, but I failed to notice that we still had a pillowcase as one of our dish towels. So, and then Rachel got some dish towels after the wedding, and I saw them. I was like, oh, we should have done this before.
For me, it was like the house came with so many things that I was like, we don't need to. We don't need to.
The thing is, I'm still learning how to operate in this house properly. Like, when I go out front to smoke, which I sometimes do, or to do whatever, to look at stuff. Like this morning, there was a whole flock of turkeys on the driveway. There's 4 mom turkeys, and there were actually, I realized after I made a short about it, saying that there was 12 total turkeys. There were actually a baker's dozen. There were 9 juvenile turkeys, not 8. So anyway, that was pretty exciting to have such a coven of turkeys, I guess you'd call it. If you have 13 turkeys, you call it a coven. You call it a baker's dozen of turkeys. But I also learned that turkeys are selfish, and they don't let any of the other woodland friends have any woodland cutlets. They shoo them all away. So if you thought turkeys were selfless birds, no, they're not. They're very selfish. But after they went away, I put out more woodland cutlets, and the blue jays came down and were like, squawk, squawk, squawk.
I do like to squawk.
Rachel and I slept in late today. We slept in until afternoon. I got up earlier in the morning, was up for like 45 minutes, and just said, nope, you're not done sleeping, mister. You need to go back to bed. And I did. And Rachel and Trevor and I, we just slept in all the way till like 12:30.
Mm-hmm. It felt good.
Our group of domesticated turkeys is called a rafter. A group of wild turkeys are a flock. Well, the thing is, that might have been a flock of turkeys, but a normal flock of turkeys, as I've seen in the past, there's one male and a bunch of females, or maybe two males and a larger bunch of females. This flock of turkey seemed like during raising the young season, the males and the females separate, and the females hang out together with the babies without any males. That's what I'm thinking, because I didn't see any males around anywhere.
So, hear me out. I'd like to start a. What are those bands called that they like play music of other bands?
Cover
band of Flock of Seagulls, but call ourselves Flock of Turkeys.
It's a good idea. It's a very good idea. So, turkeys are a lot like peacocks in some ways. They're about the same size. They walk around the ground, etc. But they're a lot less annoying. They don't make that horrible noise all the time. And additionally, they don't hang around. So it's like I watched them. They ate everything that I put out, and then they went away. And they might come back tomorrow morning. I don't know. But I don't foresee these peacocks being these turkeys being like the peacocks in the sense that they just become so tame that they just shit all over your house and sit and wait for you to feed them. You know?
Meow.
Now, granted, they did shit more than, say, the blue jays shit when they eat the food, but still, they're much better than peacocks. And unlike peacocks, they're not protected. You can shoot them if you want to. I don't want to, but if they start annoying me enough, who knows?
Should I try to put the hamper together today?
Oh, I'll do it. That's Rachel's way of saying, can we put the hamper together? Yes, we can, absolutely. In fact, why don't we do that first?
Okay.
The thing is, the turkeys seem to know that you can shoot them because they're much more cautious birds than the peacocks ever were. You know, they have some awareness that they can't just blithely just walk around and eat whatever without any concern for people. They're very run away from people, which is good.
It is good.
Because, if I want to shoo them away, it's easy to shoo them away.
That's good. You could easily shoo them away, and then the other woodland friends could come back.
Right. Are all turkeys Turkish? Good question.
That is a good question.
I'm going to say no. These are American turkeys. But they could be a blend of Turkish and American turkeys, like Camel cigarettes are.
So they can play for the Turkish soccer team.
Right, those female turkeys we saw this morning, they could play for Turkey's Women's World Cup team. Maybe if they had, they would have made the World Cup finals.
Yeah, I think so.
Because, they expanded that field to 32 teams now.
Have any of you guys been watching the Women's World Cup?
Well, it just started,
Yeah, that's true. It did just start.
But I think they've expanded the field for both men's and women's, which means that there's no more best third place team gets through from a group. You have to you have to be first or second in the group to advance, and no place teams get through. When they had 24 teams, they had to make it so that first and second place teams got through, and then the best couple of third place teams got through too to make the numbers work. 32 makes much more sense as a number for tournament brackets, you know? That's why it's like there's 64 teams in the March Madness tournament because that's how it works, you know. 2,
I
4, 8, 16, 32, 64. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. Um, I was thinking there was something wrong with that sentence, show media. I just couldn't put my finger on what it was.
If only turkeys from America are Turkish, are turkeys from Turkey also Turkish? No.
No. Yes, that makes me feel so good about my TI.
If all turkeys from America are Turkish, are turkeys from Turkey also Turkish? Maybe. Thanks for watching and liking, Mr. Mom. I really appreciate it. Please don't feel obligated to leave a comment. I don't want you to feel like my vids are homework. Winston's mom is just, she has things to say about stuff. Just, that's her natural way of being.
I like to leave comments too. I have to finish listening to your last pick a card. And I fucking thoroughly enjoy your backyard plants and flowers and
Yours are the only videos that Rachel listens to that I don't leave the room when she listens to them. you know, Rachel listens to all kinds of that kind of stuff,
I do.
right? Most of the time, I can't stand to listen to it particularly because not like it's bad or annoying exactly. It's just I'm not I'm not interested in it at all. And if they say things I don't agree with, then I just have to keep my mouth shut, and that's not my natural way of being.
But
you know?
I feel you.
But I'm perfectly comfortable walking in, sitting down, and joining Rachel and watching one of your videos. I feel like I'm in safe hands. I don't have to worry about you saying dumbass wrong stuff that annoys me. But you know, I get that Rachel also that probably doesn't want to like watch me work on logic with Chloe, right?
I actually don't mind that.
But I mean, the
I
thing
don't mind
is,
being background for that anyway.
okay, in the background of it, right? But you're probably also paying attention to whatever's on your phone, and you're able to pay attention to that and exclude what I'm talking about. When I hear talking in the background, I can't seem to tune it out.
You know, one of the reasons why I woke up at 1 was because I was listening to YouTube and like whatever it was just so, like woke me up. That doesn't usually happen. That means I don't like it usually.
Well, who can blame you for not liking something if it's bad? I tell you what, you start doing this, okay? And I'm gonna start building that thing.
Okay.
After I smoke a couple hits off of the cigarette. Not the whole thing.
I have cards. Who wants cards? Yeah, your videos rule, Lou. So much magic is happening. I love the two-stemmed sunflowers. Yep, we got psychedelic cards and we have prism oracles, a gift from my sister. They're new and she uses them exclusively. Mrs. Mom said, I had a very long, very vivid dream about chewing gum. It was hilarious. Then I went to look at the symbolism and found it related to Bible verse about being stuck. I am stuck on finding some art. Some art for what, Winston's mom? Just to have or to learn about? Oh no. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Lou. Yeah, your backyard, your house is like full of magic. I wanted to send you something. I saw, I think it was a short on YouTube. Someone found a fairy wing in their backyard, and they like outlined it. It was interesting. It was really interesting. I thought of you. Um, a card fell out. Yeah, new cards. You might be interested in them too. I actually really like them as oracles. They're my first oracle deck, kind of. I guess Teal Swan was my first oracle deck. Okay, so I'm gonna have this card that fell out is for the chat. Ooh, Ace of Cups. Feel, heart, open, create, new beginning, bliss, fun, love, joy. So that's for our group right now. And so Lou, if you don't mind, I'd like to start with you. I'm going to use these cards, one of these cards, and then one of the Prism Oracle. No, Ace of Cups, ACE, Winston's mom. Sorry, my accent. I mumble sometimes. Okay, so Lou. This flipped out. Ooh. Okay. I'm not going to reveal it yet. I'm going to pull one of these. It has a nice little book with little descriptions. So this is the Prism Oracle. And this is also for Lou. Thanks, Winston's mom. I appreciate that. I can understand that. Feeling utterly bottomless. When you're in it, you're in it. Nothing, there's a line from LCD Sound System that says, nothing can you prepare you for it, like death. It doesn't matter how it comes or which way. Like I was thinking last night about how in August it'll be a year since Eric's dad has been gone, and it brings up feelings for me. Okay. Lou. This one's flying out. Okay. Lou. First card we have, which is the tarot, is the Hermit, number 9. Withdrawn, reflection, wisdom, avoidance, repose, counsel. And the next one we have is the color purple, and it's called Mystery. I'll read from the book. Yeah, almost a year. It's nuts. Okay. First, I'll read what they say about purple. Purple. Purple is often associated with royalty and wealth, as well as mystery, spiritual awareness, and mysticism. It has the shortest light wavelength, and it is tied to both the crown and the third eye centers. Located at the top of the head, the crown energy center, which is represented by violet, allows us to connect to a higher level of awareness. The third eye is said to be where one can make intuitive or psychic downloads as it sees with not present to the naked eye. In witchcraft, purple is a wonderful color to surround yourself with when you're working on cultivating your creativity or enhancing intuitive ability. So I'm going to go to mystery. Mystery. The mystery card represents the idea that it's okay to not have all the answers all of the time. Embrace the various mysteries of life and let things happen and unfold as they need to. Surrender to the unknown. Hi, Mr. Bobby.
Pretty warm out there.
Nice that we have a cool house.
Yeah. Meow.
Do you want to pull?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm doing one oracle, one tarot card.
Sounds
You're
good.
so welcome, Lou. You know something interesting that happened? The night of our wedding, a beetle crawled on me. And I was like, oh. So I picked it up and I put it on the windowsill. Well, the next day, I found it on its back. And I was like, oh no. Like, I put it on its back. I killed it. Yesterday, I'm laying on the bed. I look over at the beetle, and its legs started moving. And I was like, oh my god, I can save its life again. Like, and I put it on its leg, and it's gone.
Wow, I didn't know they were like turtles.
Neither did I. It's
Doesn't
pretty.
seem particularly difficult to put together. It should be fairly
Oh,
straightforward.
that's good. I'm happy to hear that.
Let's see how
Okay.
it works.
So Eric's cards now. This one just popped out. Yeah. Thanks, Lou. I think so too. It's like, I was like, oh my god, like, I was so happy because I was so sad about, I was like, oh, I didn't realize I put it on its back. Like, I didn't want to, squish it, but I didn't want it laying on me while I was sleeping. That's interesting, Winston's mom. Beetles are symbols of transformation, much like dragonflies.
Okay, well, the first thing I'm going to need to do is get my glasses. Is this belt still not tight on? How many holes do you have to punch in this fucking thing? Okay. Well,
Okay, you got two.
alright, what did I get?
First card you get. Woo! This one suits you so well. At the Empress, number 3. Fertility. Mother. Secure. Beautiful. Harvest. Eric got the Empress.
'Cause I'm a beautiful lady sitting in a chair.
Then we also got a purple card. And the purple card we got is magic.
That goes along with the Empress, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Magic is real. It is a spark and the excitement that comes out of nowhere, the act of manifestation, or the feeling of creating something from nothing. It is all of these things and more. This card represents the need to acknowledge the magic and sense of wonder within your life. It's happening around you all the time. You just need to look for it.
Meta-synchronicities. Jung's favorite reference was a client dreaming about a blue scarab just to have one appear on the window during a session. Yeah, those kind of things are weird. Like glasses. Let's see if I can use some magic to put this thing together.
You also got a white card, and the white card says that viewed one way, white may seem like the absence of color, but white light is actually all colors blended together. It can be seen as calming, or when perceived as absence, nothingness, and emptiness. Too much white can seem cold and sterile. White is often associated with peace, and it is also used to symbolize surrender. In India, white is often worn at funerary services, and in China, it is considered the color of mourning. In addition, the color white is sometimes used to help find clarity in magical workings and spellcraft. So you got consciousness. Consciousness is our ability to feel and sense what is around us and within us, and to tap into a deep universal connection. Allow yourself to go beyond yourself and your ego. Tune into this consciousness deeply as you move forward on your journey.
Okay. I'll do all those things. Wait. One of these. This needs to be like that. Wait.
That's probably good, Lou. That I love that you say Beatles. I do that sort of thing as well. Though if it's a spider, I will have catch it first in something that allows me to not have to touch it. Yeah.
Okay. This is going to be harder than I thought.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm just trying. This is confusing me at the moment. I've got these things here. Right? They're supposed to. Okay, so I'm supposed to start with the one that has it on the long one. Let's see. Okay. Back to Rachel. I will update you if I make any progress.
Winston's mom, since you used an F. Scott Fitzgerald's Great Gatsby quote, you're next. Winston's mom.
I don't get it.
Winston's mom asked, do you have to use an anchor on the drywall, or is your wall made of something else?
Yeah, our walls, you basically can't drill into them. You have to use like control strips or something.
Winston's mom, I have a very complicated relation with the. I can't believe it's with a book, but I have a very complicated relation with The Great Gatsby because I think it's extremely cynical, and I really don't like that. But I think it's great writing. Like, the unreliable narrator is just so smart. And it makes me question a lot of things. And I think Jay Gatsby is an ENFJ. And just, the stuff that happens in the book is just like, oh, my heart. Okay, Winston's mom.
I think I got it.
Yeah.
I think I figured it out.
52. Okay, Winston's mom. Oracles. Winston's mom.
This is some serious TV here. I'll tell you.
I'm so glad that you're figuring it out.
Wait, that's probably not the right screw. Are there other kinds of screws? Yes, there are. I should use these ones.
When I first read The Great Gatsby, I related to Nick too. But now that I know he's an unreliable narrator, I like him a lot less. He basically lies throughout the whole book. He's bad at ending relationships. He's very sarcastic. He has sort of like an obsession with Gatsby, who himself lies to Nick in the book.
A lot of lies.
Yep. Oh, and then the worst character ever, the biggest demon in written history, Tom Buchanan, is a horrible person. I mean, just like astonishingly horrible. And then you side with him at one point, and it's like, ew, ugh, whatever, dude. Like, ugh, you suck. Okay, when's his mom? Winston's mom. Ooh, Winston's mom also got consciousness. And she gets, for her tarot card, Page of Cups, Spirit Child, Message, Intuition.
It's on the Page of Cups.
And consciousness. So I'll read consciousness again, because I don't remember what it said. Consciousness is our ability to feel and sense what is around us and within us, and to tap into deeper universal connection. Allow yourself to go beyond yourself and your ego. Tune into this consciousness deeply as you move forward on your journey. Look at what Eric's putting together.
Yep.
Meow! Meow! You want to go outside? Sorry, babe. Didn't mean to make you wait.
Is this supposed to be on the inside of this? God damn it. Let's get this one out. That's correct. Now, yeah, of them. Okay.
That sounds very romantic. Winston's mom. Winston's mom says, consciousness, page of cups, spirit child, intuition. Thank you. I am conscious that I would like to go to Paris and drink hot chocolate with another spirit child who also perceives this intuitive travel desire and return home via the Maldives. I've never been to Paris or the Maldives.
It comes with, I guess, a variety of choices into how you deal with it, because it's like it's got this one, which I guess is just like tie it like this, probably. Or you just kind of bow it, you know.
Yep. I like that it has those handles that can take care of laundry upstairs.
Right, you don't have to take the whole hamper, you just take the bag. Well, anyway, we'll have to play around with this a little bit and see how you most effectively find you use it. I don't know what these are.
Oh, that's great. It's a garment bag.
It's got an extra one of these things.
Oh, wow. That's great.
So, there you go.
I could potentially have 2 piles of... That's great. That's great. Thank you.
Sure. There's a couple extra screws for each kind for some reason. I'm quite certain there's no place else to screw anything in, so.
It looks great.
Closes.
Wonderful.
You picked a good hamper, Rachel.
Thanks.
I guess I will go put it in the laundry room. Not heavy, it's good.
It is good. Oh, how does it feel?
All right. Well, we're back. Did you miss us? We put it in the laundry room, and that was pretty exciting. I think we all learned something that day, something important. Something important called how to put together that laundry basket. It turns out you just had to fold it the right way, you know?
Ooh, I'm gonna pull some cards. I'm gonna just use tarot, but I'm gonna pull some cards for Johnny.
Well, that's a good idea. I mean, if the tarot is accurate, it's going to be the world, the emperor, and the star.
Okay, this
Or
is difficult.
maybe the
Oh
sun.
my god, that's like such expectation.
Let's see what it says.
All right. You wanna help me choose?
Sure.
I'm shuffling right now, but.
Sure. You shuffle away to your little heart's content. So, if you haven't yet listened to Johnny, I will link his channel here. I'd recommend starting with his newest album, or actually, I'd recommend starting with his film called It's Always Fair Never True, the film, which is found under releases probably. Why can't I find the film?
It's hard to find the film. Wait. Go up. There it is.
Right. You know what? I'll link to this. Copy. No, I won't link to this. It's under videos, okay? But I will link instead to. Oh, actually, yeah. I'll link to this right here. It's right here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you should watch the thing called "It's Never Fair, Always True," the film. It is a composite of I think 6 of the songs into a short film, 20-minute long film uh, that arcs across each of the videos in one story arc. You know.
Okay, Johnny.
It's highly, highly, highly worth watching / listening to. Mostly listening to, you know. I mean, the thing about it is the music's just spectacular. Is this one for Johnny?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Johnny. Here's your second card. You want to do the third one?
Sure.
So, what we got here is the stars.
Oh my god!
Absolutely appropriate. Transition is he's on tour probably right now, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then victory and triumph.
Oh my god, I can't believe we got the star.
Well, it's called shot home run there, baby. That's what that is. Do you like the Allman Brothers? Not really. They got a good song or two. You know, I can't think of what it is right now, but I know they have one song at least that I like.
Yeah. That's how I feel about them too. They have a song that I like.
You know, I can't think of what it is. So I tried to put some water out for the woodland friends when I was outside smoking before. The squirrels came down to eat food and they just completely ignored the water. So I guess they're not very thirsty.
This came out for me.
What do you got there?
Got the Queen of Cups, Mystic, Deep.
It's hard to read those cards.
Yeah.
I frequently have to ask for visual.
Seer.
Okay.
And then I have Harmony, Cohabitate, Home, Move, Happiness, or Rods.
I definitely have all that stuff. You know, I continue kind of geeking out on consciously enjoying this space. You know, it's so wonderfully TE smart that it facilitates us in all the areas where we most need to be facilitated. There's a solution to everything built into this house. It may take me a while to figure out, oh, you're supposed to do it like that. But there's a way you're supposed to do everything, and it makes everything efficient and easy and smooth, you know? And it's such a satisfying space to occupy. It's unbelievable. Compared to the Arcadia house, oh my God, this is so vastly more satisfying a space to occupy in all regards. it does everything right that that house did wrong. This house is soundproof AF.
And also these shutters, these plantation shutters, keep the heat out.
And the light out,
Mm-hmm.
make this space as private as we want it to be. They give us infinite flexibility in terms of the lighting. I could, if I wanted a little lighting on us right now, I just flip these things open. If I think that's too direct, I could go over there, open one of those. I could open two of those, you know. You can adjust the lighting in all different kinds of ways. You can adjust it so that those things are wide open, so it's just the windows, you know. Sometimes
Yeah.
I do that and I open it so I can both hear the thing from inside and stand outside and see through, no problem. And if I don't have the window open, I will not be able to hear it, even if it's up loud. That's just like spectacular, right? It's very well insulated, so that when we turn the air conditioning off, it's hours before it gets hot again. You know, even though it's blazing hot outside, we're pretty air conditioner luxuriant. But at some point in the afternoon, it'll be like, okay, it's a little chilly in here for me. I'll turn it off, and then it won't get too hot until like after we go to bed. It's crazy. It's so well insulated.
It is.
The solution for the cats, that once we figured it out, makes having these cats completely effortless. I rarely have to even clean the litter box anymore. They mostly go outside. All I have to do is keep the side door of the garage cracked open, and we've got this perfect cat solution. It's got a cat door that also doesn't invite critters into the house, etc., etc. You know, the garage provides this wonderful intermediate space for we can sit in there at a table and smoke and have the garage door open this much or that much or whatever, and have a fan in there. It doesn't get smoky. It's got the windows in there. We can open or close. It's a spacious garage. It's all the hoses are exactly the right length for everything, so you can reach everything you hope to reach with any given hose. Like that kind of thing is stuff that in a billion years I would never think about.
That's cool, TE.
Yeah, it's just smart, excellent TE.
You know what, Mr. Bobby? You know what I have to say to that? Cecilia,
You're breaking my heart. You're shaking my confidence, baby.
Oh, Cecilia.
I'm down on my knees. I'm begging you, please, to come home. Come on home.
Making love to you, Cecilia.
Up in my bedroom, making love. I got up to wash my face. When I come back to bed, someone's taking my place. What a horrible, horrible situation.
Yeah.
What a slut.
Oh my god, oh, surrender. I didn't get consciousness, I got surrender. Interesting.
Well, time to stop fighting. I don't know what it is you're fighting, but it's time to stop fighting. I don't think you really have anything to surrender to at the moment. You seem to be in such a good place. I think we both are.
Thanks.
I mean, don't you think we both are?
Yeah, we are.
It took a while for, I think, either of us to emotionally recover from all that stuff that went down, the whole deaths and selling the house and all that, living in a hotel, all that horrible time period, right? But now that we're on the other side of it, I feel almost like happy in the right way for the first time in my life.
Pretty significant.
You know, like
Me too.
I feel like we're living like human beings ought to live for the first time in either of our lives, and we have the one person in the world we're supposed to be with, which is statistically almost impossible, but made more likely statistically by the fact that I was a YouTuber, so inherently putting myself out there more, you know. So it's not that statistically impossible as some other things that she and I found each other, because she's a YouTube watcher and I was a YouTube maker. So that's part of why we were so perfectly matched for each other too. It was kind of inevitable that she'd find me, and it was just I don't know a lot of different things that had to happen, but the Slavs wanted us to be together.
Yeah, they did.
Anyway, now we are, and we're here, and we're happy, and we we're not quite sure what to do with ourselves. Like, what do you do when you're happy? What do you do when you're happy and you can do whatever you want?
This is exactly what this says in the book. It says, now that you are free, what can you do? What new pathways can you go down?
And says that to surrender?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
It says exactly that. Now that you're free, what can you do?
Mm-hmm.
I said the same thing,
Yep.
basically.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
I know.
Moonfei, Rachel related to me that you encountered a community that you found unsafe. And I just want to say I was very relieved to discover it was not mine. And anyway,
I'm relieved that it's not
I
ours.
certainly hope we never allow such an environment here.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. What I will say is that we should get on getting a motel room at the Madonna Inn pretty quick.
Yeah,
here.
we should.
Because who knows? It's possible, like they're staying there and they might occupy a lot of rooms if we got a crew and shit. I suspect they're going to go straight from the show to Vegas, but just in case it puts a pinch on availability, we should get on that sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I agree.
We're going to go see Johnny play in San Luis Obispo on September 22nd.
It's pretty exciting. I'm like...
It's really exciting. It's a small venue. It's basically like we're seeing the Beatles before they had to stop touring because they got too huge, you know? Although I think the better comparison actually is Eminem. I think Johnny is the INFJ version of Eminem, and he will blow up accordingly and be viewed eventually as super influential genius, outlier genius figure. I think that's really the best comparison. Because the Beatles, unlike Johnny or Eminem, the Beatles were a band. So it fundamentally makes not as good a comparison as another individual artist like Eminem. Eminem, of course, was way more hit and miss than Johnny has been thus far in his career, but that's as one would expect a difference to be between EHP and an INFJ. But also, Eminem was operating on a higher level than I really realized. Rachel and I were listening to him yesterday, and was listening to his lyrics, and he was doing a lot. Well, in this instance, Mr. Bobby, what I mean is in terms of significant genius hitting the scene and making a huge impact on everything, there's where I'm drawing. There's two versions of that. Eminem being the EHP version of that, INFJ being Johnny being the INFJ version of that.
So
No, I may have mentioned in the past that if there was any possible other type that Eminem could be, it would be INTP, but he's an ENTP for sure.
that's so cool, Moonfei. We were just talking about Lizzo. We think Lizzo's cool.
Yeah. I started playing the flute. I'm like, that is so weird.
Yeah,
She's a flautist.
Yeah.
You don't see many flautists transition into pop star.
You know what they call one label or one interviewer called Johnny's music Love Boy Pop.
That's underestimating it substantially.
Yeah, I thought so too. Mr. Bobby, I pulled two cards for you. You got Spirit Child, Page of Cups, Messenger, Intuition, just like Winston's mom. And then you also got the Queen of Swords, cutting, shrewd, sociable, chatty. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Nah.
But you know what the craziest beat, one of the craziest rap beats of all time is the beat to Kill You, right? Is that what it's called? Yeah. That beat's crazy. When I was just a little baby boy, that song, the beat to it is one of the strangest, most awesomest beats ever. It's so like it doesn't have like a normal driving momentum forward like you want a beat to have, and yet it works so beautifully with what he's doing. It's just amazing. That song is a masterwork.
It really is.
I ain't done yet. This ain't the chorus. Right when you expect the chorus to come in, it's just fucking great. And what he keeps saying throughout his music is, I got all these people complaining about how I'm homophobic and awful and talking and misogynistic, etc. But you don't want the real me. You want this guy, this horrible guy. So here you go. He keeps saying that throughout his music, but nobody seemed to have been listening to him, including me, until like yesterday. And I was listening to some things. I was like, oh my God, he was making everything clear the whole time, but nobody was listening to him.
So I think you're right about Adam Sandler being an ESTP. I never knew really what Adam Sandler was until seeing Happy Gilmore. That solidified. I was like, oh yeah, he's ESTP. But there's this movie, I forget the name of it, but Adam Sandler's in it, and it's basically a story about a comedian who gets really big, but is known for these, like, he's basically typecast because of his movies. And Eminem was in it. He made an appearance in the movie. And he was chummy with Adam Sandler. I was like, oh.
Well, ESTPs and ENTPs tend to get along well.
Yeah, that's I mean I like.
I don't like Adam Sandler's comedy.
No.
He seems to think what's the ideal humorous moment is him punching somebody in the face. All right, that's like ESTPs should not be comedians. But can I give you an example of a famous ENTP who you consider dumb or not smart, if you can think of one? I can think of examples of famous ENTP who is wrong and who failed in various ways. Like, I can think of two right off the top of my head: Jon Stewart and Barack Obama.
Oh, Jon Stewart.
But neither of them are dumb.
No.
No, they're not dumb. They're just wrong. They're Jon Stewart's wrong and smarter than everybody who he ever talks to who's correct. That's his problem, is that he never encountered people who were correct, who were smarter or as capable of debating as he was. Like, he never ran into me, right? Barack Obama was most of all weak and had a fundamental wrong understanding of his relationship between his second slot TI and his third slot FE. He let his third slot FE scorecard drive his understanding of what was correct, and then turned out to be weak because he was reliant on that FE scorecard to validate things, and he's probably a 9.
Yeah, he's definitely a 9.
With that Congress he was dealing with, there's no way he could succeed as a 9. He had to be an 8 to handle that shit. Like, I would have put those fuckers in their place. Now, granted, I wouldn't have been advocating some of the stuff that Obama was advocating, but regardless, I would have put those fuckers in their place because they were not behaving, regardless of anything else, they were not behaving as fellow citizens in a citizen democracy working together to try to make things work at all. They were just being oppositional no matter what. They never evaluated anything on its merits. They just hated them and wanted them to fail no matter what. Now, it's fine to just generally be oppositional to somebody who's generally keeps promoting bad ideas, but the legislature seems to have forgotten that they're the fucking legislature, right? He's the president.
He's the president.
His job isn't to make laws and stuff. That's the legislature's job. And they kept acting as though he were another legislative branch and they were opposing his legislation.
I think that Robin Williams was an ENFP.
Yeah, Robin Williams was an ENFP. But I would have put those fuckers in their place by explaining exactly that. Act like adults, you fucks.
That's so needed right now.
Like Obama, I bought into his promises of libertarian shit, like getting rid of or just human rights shit, like getting rid of like Guantanamo Bay and etc. And his human rights record was terrible. So, he ran that whole presidency scared. He kept droning striking people because he was scared that if he stopped and something happened, people would blame him, you know? He ran that whole fucking presidency scared. No, well, I mean, they were, Mr. Robbie. That's the problem. It is true that the Republicans were not being actually responsive to anything on point. They were not addressing any actual things. They were just trying to make Obama fail no matter what, regardless of what's in the country's interest, right? Now, it may be true that most of what Obama was advocating for was bullshit, but the thing is, he all he could do was say, I think we should do this. He's not the legislature, right? Why are they on the attack? They just have to not facilitate his legislative agenda, and that's all they need to do.
100A, yeah, we're doing tarot. I'll pull a tarot card for you. I'll pull a tarot card and a prism oracle.
Regardless, they have a responsibility to facilitate or not according to the merits of whatever specific thing he is advocating, not just oppose him in general because they think he's a bad person or a lefty or whatever. That's being stupid and a child. Everyone wants to think they're dealing with people when they're dealing with politics, when what they should be dealing with is, of course, policy, not people. Policy, not personalities, right? Stop worrying about the person that you think is so evil, like Biden or whatever other freaking person you're demonizing. That's how children deal with things. They can't deal with ideas on their merits, so they have to deal with people that stand in and make them into boogeyman, etc. Don't be a child.
Well, at least you don't have Hitler.
There are real boogeymen, but the problem is people keep forgetting to compare actual behavior and policies against against other instances of along that same spectrum of possibilities and evaluate them accurately. They say, because I don't like this person, I'm going to maximally portray them as evil all the time. And I'm going to be constantly looking for reasons to confirm that and ignore the fact that it has nothing to do with what we as a nation should be doing policy wise, regardless, right? It's like the reason I didn't like Trump was because he disregarded those habits and institutions of democracy that matter. The process, keeping the process integrity matters, right? The personalities and individual people who may or may not be good people, that's not relevant.
No, it's not. Okay. 100A, 100A. Your Prism Tarot Oracle card. But I mean, like, ooh, you got. So 100A, you have the King of Rods, worldly, direct, motivator, generous. And then you get, for the Prism Oracle, a pink card called Sweetness. And I'll read what that means. I haven't done pink yet. Pink. Pink is frequently associated with love, sweetness, nurturing, and compassion. Pink roses are often associated with affection and gratitude, and in astrology, pink is aligned with the planet Venus, which rules over aesthetics and love. Rose quartz, a popular crystal known for its light pink hue, is said to be useful for connecting to matters of the heart and boosting feelings of self-love. Brighter shades of pink, like magenta and fuchsia, convey a sense of excitement, while lighter shades of pink are often used to bring feelings of relaxation into an environment. Sweetness. This card is a signal to savor the sweet moments in life and to remember them when things get rough. The small things in life are often the sweetest, but they easily go unnoticed. Sweetness is always there if you look for it. There you go, 100A. Two trailer park girls go round the outside, round the outside, round the outside. Two trailer park girls go round the outside. Carlos Paiva, would you like a reading? I'll pull you a tarot card and a prism oracle. I meant, like, Obama is an example of a weak ENTP, but like at least you don't have Hitler. Having Hitler in your stack of people is
No, I would have explained why it's a bad idea, just as I did on the YouTube channel, opposed it, except unlike Trump, I would have had good reasons to oppose it. Trump's reason was, I got a hunch. And it's a good example of why reasons matter so much, right? I would have said exactly the same thing I said on the YouTube channel. I'm not going to be wrong under popular opinion. Absolutely not. I'm going to point out all the methodology flaws. I'm going to say, this isn't good science. This makes no sense as a policy prescription, given what we know about this thing, for the following very good reasons. You know, and I would have said additionally that public officials who think that this pandemic justifies their infringing on people's basic rights, freedom of assembly, etc., are totally wrong and need to desperately need to not try to impose these extra legal impositions on the populace under the guise of emergency powers that they don't have.
it's pretty bad.
I would have said that. Right? which is exactly what should have been said. Here's another example of why justification matters so much. So, the Supreme Court correctly ruled that you cannot get a search warrant based on finding like empty drug packages or with a little bit of residue in them or whatever in the trash of somebody's house. And they put the trash out. The cops search the trash. They find a little baggie that has a little bit of residue in it, and they get a search warrant. Right? The Supreme Court ruled they cannot do that. Now, I mentioned this the other day, and somebody said that because he didn't have any good reasons, show media, he couldn't justify himself. That's why. Because he couldn't say, here's why the science, what's being presented as the science is not science. It's bad science and not worth, and to the extent that it's good science, is telling us that quarantine will not work, right? We have to evaluate the actual impacts of things. If we could quarantine in a way that ensured that this disease would go extinct, fine. But we cannot do that, and therefore we don't have the justification necessary to violate all these existing norms that have protected all of our autonomy and freedom for the duration of American history.
Okay, Carlos Paiva, you got the Empress card, just like Eric. Fertility, mother, secure, beautiful, harvest.
Who is threatening them? That's right. I mean, it's like, look, if that were the case, that there's some shadowy organization that made physical threats, blah, 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 I'd have to deal with that then, okay? I'm operating under the assumption that the American president can do an honest and good and earnest job, be non-corrupt, serve the public's interest, serve the citizenry, lead the country successfully without being threatened by his own citizen mates, you know? I'm assuming that's the case. If I'm proved wrong, then so be it. I'll have to deal with that reality then. Okay, and I don't know what I'll do, you know? If that turns out to be the case. I don't know.
Carlos Paiva, you also get the color oracle card, Confidence. It's a black card. And it says...
I mean, the thing is, you can't have a contingency plan for something like that, because what I'd have to discover, obviously, there's no monolithic, shadowy figure who's secretly controlling everything behind the scenes. That just doesn't make any sense. Even if, in fact, there's segments within the CIA who are trying to say control, limit the authority of the government, limit the ability of the president to speak truth. Well, there are other segments. It's not monolithic, right? So I'd have to establish how much power I had, how much I could do to prevent these threats from being executed, and how much I could use transparency to hold those accountable who are attempting to make these threats. You know, so it's like, if I can ensure the safety of my loved ones for a limited stretch of time, if I can guarantee that for a couple of years, then I can allow the truth to do its job and eradicate the threat by being out there. You know, I'm so rational, sensible. What I say makes such good sense. I'm so obviously not a bullshitter that it's going to be. We'd have to see the specifics in order to know what kind of response I could possibly make. Right? It's all speculative. Regardless, we shouldn't be thinking about that right now because it's all speculative. We should assume that, in fact, if I could become president, that I'd be able to do what I'm saying I can do, which is just tell the truth about things, right? Explain why successfully. It's not like people I've encountered in the world, right, have demonstrated that they have the ability to do this at all. So why should we assume the failure of other presidents to do this successfully is indicative of somebody suppressing them? I've never encountered people who can do it successfully without anybody suppressing them at all.
Okay, just really quickly, for Carlos Ferreira, confidence. Confidence is not a fixed attribute. It's something that we're continuously working to build throughout our lives. In a reading, this card signifies it's the right time to start working and enhancing your sense of self-confidence. How can you build more confidence in your life in a meaningful way? Okay.
So doesn't it make a lot more sense that the presidents represent the population they come from and simply lack the ability to do what I'm doing? Doesn't that make a lot more sense than they're being quieted in some way? Trump, it's not like Trump ever displayed a capacity for good reasoning. So why would he suddenly have it as president and then have that his voice suppressed?
No.
He said all kinds of crazy shit. So it's like if his voice is being suppressed, it's not being suppressed very vigorously.
So are you Acacia? I can't read the font, but I absolutely will give you cards.
I don't know. That question was too much of a mess for me to even know what you're asking.
Okay. Okay, so green icon person.
No,
Oh, hey, Acacia.
a president comes from the population at large. Okay, so a president, for example, is born to parents who are American citizens who are live in some state, maybe own a property there and live there and raise their child there. They go to school, etc. Right? They come from the population.
Okay. Acacia.
Do they represent the will of the electorate? To varying degrees. Trump represented the will of his constituency that voted for him, but not his constituency in general, the population at all. And a president's job is to consider the will of the electorate in making decisions, consider the will of the entire electorate and the well being of the entire electorate, the interest of the entire electorate, etc. But that does not mean the president should always go along with whatever everybody thinks is best. That's a different matter. So a president has to make hard decisions sometimes because the populace sometimes is wrong. And you hope you have a smart enough president that they can make the right decision and explain why it's the right decision.
Okay, Acacia, you got the Emperor, Authority, Patriarch, Seasoned, Clout, Virtuoso. The Emperor. It's number 4 in the Major Arcana. And you got the color purple, Mystery, for your Oracle card. And I'll read that for you.
That means it's your Oprah Winfrey moment.
Yeah. The mystery card represents the idea that it's okay to not have all the answers all the time. Embrace the various mysteries of life and let things happen and unfold as they need to. Surrender to the unknown.
For everyone, that's true, except for me.
Yeah,
I have to have all of the answers all of the time. There are plenty of things about which I just have to say, well, that's just not my area of expertise.
But I don't want someone else, 'cause I'm sure, more than sure, you're the one.
Yeah, I've been having a lot of Johnny in my head. I had a weird dream last night that I was somehow going back to finish high school. And I was stressing out because I had to go to class pretty soon. And how much I didn't really want to do any of these stupid things I had to do. And then at some point in the dream, I asked myself, wait, why am I doing this even? Why am I going back to high school to finish this? I don't understand. But then my dad was still alive, and he was like, well, we're gonna stay in this house until it's legally not ours anymore.
That's so weird. Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that a weird dream?
And it really happened that they stayed in the house until it wasn't theirs anymore.
Well, my dad did.
Yeah, your dad did.
My mom didn't.
No. But she didn't want to.
But like in this dream, I was my current age, and I was going back to high school to finish it because somehow I like hadn't graduated properly or
Oh
something.
my god, what a weird dream.
I find that dream very strange. But
What do you think it means, Winston's mom?
anybody have any thoughts about what that means? Go ahead and throw them out there. Or anyone wants to interpret my dream?
Interpret Eric's dream.
Go for it. I don't have an easy interpretation of that.
I don't either, and usually I have something, but
Or maybe it represents my relationship with my SI. Like, maybe it's true that you didn't finish learning yet from your past mistakes, but you don't need to go back and finish high school. In other words, you don't need to dwell so much on things from the past. But I don't know.
yeah, you don't have to dwell so much on things from the past. Yeah, that's like your subconscious speaking to you.
I'm just saying, remember, your dad's dead, that house isn't yours, and you don't have to go back and deal with any unfinished business from the past or something.
You really don't. You are free of it.
It would be telling me that by showing me the exact opposite of what is true for some reason. Yeah, it's resolved for me. Though, for sure.
You are definitely a special INFJ. And yes, you are that special.
There's variation in the display within INFJs, perhaps more than any other type. Possibly because they each have kind of a customized FE tool strategy based on what their environment rewards, what expression of NIFE it rewards or doesn't. You know, like Rachel grew up in an environment that was not allowing her to succeed. It was not allowing her to fail safely, which means basically she gets constricted back into her dominant and tool function to the exclusion of other functions because she feels most safe when she's reaching least as ontologically, right? So I think depending on how you were raised, it's going to shape the expression of NIFE in INFJs a lot because they have such a weak relationship with their subjective functions, SI and FI. So in some sense, they instead of like being defined by what's happened to them before in a conscious way, like SI DOMs are, they're defined by what's happened to them before in an unconscious way that ends up shaping their display as a person, their expression of NIFE, and it explains the variability in expression somewhat. Because like Corey is a very different kind of display INFJ than Rachel, but I don't have any doubt at all that he's also an INFJ.
We are very similar. We're definitely different, but we are similar. Like you've said like things that he said, I say.
Right.
Right.
Well, and you can really see him using his FE to um, to you can see the FE and I. I mean, I guess you could make a case for ENFJ. I never really tested his SI.
I at one point thought possibly ENFJ.
It's hard to say because he's kind of damaged right now.
Yeah,
You know?
it is really hard to say.
But it's also true that he self-identifies as an introvert, right?
He does.
And his understanding of it is he's extroverted in contexts that require extroversion, but that's not naturally who he is. Well, the thing is, Mr. Bobby, I have just as Trump had a platform that he could express himself freely on, which was Twitter. I have a platform that I can express myself freely on as well. You're assuming that they are going to somehow censor my YouTube videos, but that's you're you need to accept that you can't establish that, and you shouldn't operate under that assumption.
Wait, Moonfei, I see similarities between the two of us, especially since you're a 9, Enneagram first. Um, that's kind of why I go to you to be like, hey, like I do this weird thing, and like, is this something that like you also do? Because I don't have anyone else to ask about that. I mean, I ask Eric about it, and that definitely clears things up.
The other thing is, Rachel is actually becoming more talkative, and as she's opening up, and as we're both relaxing here, she she's such a careful person because she's been in such an ontologically assaultive environment. You're not popular enough for the digital eye of Sauron to be bothered by me. Well, that may be the case. But that doesn't mean we should assume that if I were in a position with more visibility, that I would be censored more. Okay? After all, there's the existing body of media that I've already produced that's already telling the truth about things, right? And there's no doubt that people can find that. It has a long tail, right? So I think you are both underestimating the power of organically occurring information transfers and overestimating the activity of control of this purported shadowy body whose existence you can't meaningfully establish in any way, shape, or form enough to operate under the assumption that it exists.
I do want to say that I identified as an extrovert for a long time.
Well, yeah, you got a point there. Um, but Corey and I've never felt like a benefactor beneficiary relationship with him.
That's true.
I've known other
He
ENFJs.
does benefit.
But I mean, it used to be I benefited way more from him than he did from me. Because I needed to learn some mapping thing about NI in order to get over my fundamental problem I had, which was I thought everything had to sound different or else it was not original enough or something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So he definitely benefited me more in the past. I don't see my relationship with him as similar at all to my relationship with the ENFJs I've known heretofore.
Yeah. I mean, you said he says things, we say like the same thing.
Yeah. I just think it just goes to show you how little faith you should put in affect.
Yeah.
Because people have people are impacted a lot by their particulars in various ways. So I'm different than a lot of other ENTPs in a lot of ways. Like, you know, ENTP is is maybe for me a necessary condition to being correct, but it's clearly not a sufficient condition to being correct because most people who are wrong in ENTPs and trying to stay stuff like John Stewart are not going to encounter other people who are good enough at arguing to defeat them.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just going to reinforce their notion that their projection of their of of, of like isn't it, for John Stewart it's not even a projection of function bias except insofar as he's assuming because his winning the arguments his shit is correct, right? That's a projection of TI bias, TINE bias. But the thing is, it's understandable in the absence of the metaframe as well that well, it's like his particulars meant he got caught up in partisan shit, whereas I had at one point was caught up in it too, but I outgrew it. He may have outgrown it now too. I don't know, but his problem was he's got his whole career attached to it. You know, his whole career is linked to his partisan bullshit. He thinks he's the ultimate lefty,
Yeah, we do.
and he probably is seriously rethinking that whole thing at this point, but it's too late. Meanwhile, I had gotten past that before I got into leaving a huge public record of what I'm saying. If I had made YouTube earlier, I would have had a bunch of stupid partisan shit probably. I'd probably take it down, you know. But so those particulars make a big difference. You can see John Stewart having a lot of similarities to me in a lot of ways, right?
Yep.
Except he's a 1 probably instead of an 8.
That makes sense.
Gives him a bit of an advantage in controlling his temper, probably. Not something that I would call a strength of mine, controlling my temper. Can I take this with
Well,
me?
that would be a 1.
Yeah, right.
I think he does it with sarcasm.
Oh. I'm more likely to get angry, but I know I can control myself because I've done so plenty of times, and I just have to, or I just have to plan to do so going in. If I go in without having thought about what's happening enough, that's when I get into problems. I need to pregame myself and my bad habits so I don't indulge in them. If I do that, then usually I can stay on top of my display successfully. It's just the ongoing struggle with third slot FE, you know. Third slot FE makes me wanna go pee. That's why I say wee wee wee. Come and join for this exciting party. Capillo, leave the woodland friends alone, please. You ever imagine? Let me put my glasses on. Let me go up a bit here. I think that people in general would simply not understand much of what Eric says and just justify it as him being a know-it-all or something like that. Well, yeah, I'd have to work on my tone somewhat. You ever imagine what kind of angry creature you'd turn into or would look like Hulk? Um, no, it's not entirely moldable by the media, Mr. Bobby. I responded to that point by pointing to the YouTube channel, not molding anything, right? This is my raw content, unmolded by anybody. So I think you underestimate the diversity of media sources that are available to people, and I think you underestimate their willingness um, to investigate something a little bit. You know.
So, so Moon Faye, do you find that there's similarities between the two of us?
I mean, the thing is, Mr. Bobby, you clearly don't think you've been tricked and molded into believing wrong things by the media, right? You clearly afford yourself sufficient intelligence to see through the media's lies. So why do you assume nobody else has that capacity? Okay, but the thing is, I'm not a dumb person, right? And I keep correcting you. Do you think I'm molded by the media's lies? I'm making no such arguments that would give you that indication whatsoever. So why do you have so much faith that your intuition that you cannot justify is correct and my analysis, which I is full of justification, is incorrect? You're currently somebody who's not having their ways defined by the media, okay? Not having these positions defined by the media. Clearly, I'm the one who was correct about COVID when the whole world was wrong about it, right? Clearly, I am not one of those people. And yet, I am telling you in no uncertain terms that you're making claims you cannot justify. You are not justifying, and you should not operate on as assumptions, and yet you ignore me completely. Why is that? I am media. You're watching it currently. It is not mainstream media. So is Acacia. So are all the other people here. Why are you so convinced that what I'm saying is wrong? Yeah, I'm big media. I'm CNBC. Secretly, CNBC is paying me. No, nobody's paying me shit. I'm just doing this out of the nature of being Eric. I mean, granted, I'm obviously not starting any revolution with you 12 people. I appreciate you a great deal, but you are people of uncommon taste. Why is that? I don't know. I don't know why I appeal to such a small number of people. I'm sure there's a reason, maybe multiple reasons, but I cannot articulate well enough what they are to do anything about it specific exactly. I can do general things like try to be nicer, try to be more, try not to, try to avoid questions, the answers to which sound like self aggrandizement. But, I can only avoid talking about the things that are central to my life as much as so much. It's like one thing that's central to my life is that I'm making claims of large significance, and even the people watching this channel have mixed agreement about it, right? Even the small number of people watching this channel, there's not broadly agreement with Eric about everything. So, that's how the world works. That's how individuals are, including the individuals you imagine comprising this monolithic, shadowy sub-government controlling things from behind the scenes. Individuals are the same. They're all individuals. You never find two people who agree about everything except for me and Rachel. We agree about pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't really think about anything we disagree about.
I can, but I don't like talking about it.
Oh yeah, I can think of one thing. Everything with the same thing?
Probably
Is it okay? You tell me what you think it is.
abortion.
Oh, I didn't even think we disagreed on that.
Oh.
Whatever, it doesn't matter. Because my position on it is such a legal position. It's
Mm.
not really like we agree on what would happen if you got pregnant,
Oh yeah,
and that
that's
so,
what matters.
that's what
That's what
matters, right?
matters.
I was thinking about dogs.
Oh, dog.
Like,
I'm
you
very
you really don't like dogs off of leashes, and I'm really in favor of animal liberty.
Didn't Corey even say that?
I don't remember.
Corey's talking about that with dogs. That he doesn't.
He doesn't like them off leashes. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one thing we disagree about. But it's like it's not even exactly we disagree because I watched Rachel get bit by Les's dog. It's like, oh god. That's what we need is confirmation of the risk of dogs.
But I've had dogs in my life too. Like my sister had a dog. She had a dog with her ex-husband, and we had a dog, Tyler, forever. And he was very sweet, especially in times when I was sad. He always came up and nuzzled with me. I always so appreciated that. Um, I just got bit by one, and then the fear came back. Like it's all I.
But anyway, it's not even something we disagree about really because I don't really care because I don't have a dog,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, it doesn't really.
you know, it's like as long as the thing is the source of any disagreement would have come from some statement from Rachel saying like people who let their dogs off the leash are meow meow meow, and of course I was one such person, but the thing is I no longer am one such person, and her her complaints about the habit are legitimate regardless because it's not like my dog was always well behaved. She didn't like it when people came up to her. She'd yap at them. So she didn't bite people, but she would, you know, make them go ah. So anyway, we don't agree on absolutely everything, but
It's pretty damn close.
we agree on music, and that's like by itself, that's very difficult to find two people who have really exactly the same music
Yeah.
taste.
And honestly, we do agree on most things. Really, like moralistically, I mean, you also don't talk over me. I can't like when Corey was doing that. I was very like
I could see it bothered you, and I correctly.
I appreciated you saying that, and I didn't want it to bother me because I understood like his enthusiasm for being back with his friend, and then he was probably high too.
Right.
So like
Yeah. Well, it's hard to analyze Corey right now, especially based on that visit,
oh yeah
because of a lot of complicating factors, a lot of complicating particulars. You know.
yeah
Um, he was like too extroverted at the music store, but not by a large margin, but a little bit probably. Uh, but I could get that he was soaking in the ability to actually interact with people without and you know be appreciated in some regard for who he is instead of being you know constantly shut down for who he is. It explains it as well as anything. So it's like I'm hesitant to make any kind of analysis.
no it just triggered me because I had been in a relationship where constantly like constantly cutting me off. I had to tell the person like you never let me talk, like you always cut me off. Even then it didn't stop, so it just like showed that I
Right? Obviously, I read it right. You know.
Yeah, and I appreciated that because I can't stand up for myself sometimes, and I don't want to be the. I don't want to be hard, like I guess we're a
I
bitch.
think there was one occasion where I said, Corey, let her finish. And then there was another occasion where I said, well, the reason she was worried about whether you. Capillo, you leave those wooden frames alone. Capillo, hey, hey, it's not hunting time, okay?
Nice job.
Thank you. When I said, like, the reason she's upset is because you're not letting her talk or something like that, you know? Let's go inside. Let's go inside, and I'm going to turn off the air conditioning, and we just
Sure, it's
chill in
worth
the
it, yeah.
insulated house for a while. Okay, I'm going to close this door to the laundry room to maximize the insulation. Since the weather stripping on the outside door is torn up by the goddamn cats. Such is life, right?
Hero Lamb. I'll get back to you. Hero Lamb, my first name is spelled Rachel. And Acacia, it's funny that you say that it's spelled that way because I've spelled my name on Tumblr that way.
So, Thinking Hippie says this is a lukewarm stream. Well, what that implies is that some of my streams are hot, hot, hot. And this one is not one of them. Statistically, you know, if you're me, you're definitely not batting 1,000, no matter what it is you're making. This may be a little bit of a lower energy stream than you'd like. Or perhaps you're just disagreeing with my disagreeability with Mr. Bobby. It's hard to say.
What is okay, what makes a stream not lukewarm? Like, I'm really confused by that statement because I don't find Eric to be very lukewarm.
I mean, this stream has definitely contained many original thoughts. So if that's your justification, I'll simply dismiss your critique as being a hater. Because that's not a good justification. I've expressed many original thoughts in the stream. If you've watched the whole stream, you've heard me say things that other people don't say. You've heard me reference ideas that I've come up with, etc. So, if in fact you think this stream contains fewer original thoughts than previous streams, well, you might make the argument that I'm restating things I've said before in some regard, but nevertheless, those aren't unoriginal notions. So, I don't know.
Oh, you.
Well, you just joined
wagging my finger at you like Eric's mom used to do at me when I was doing something inappropriate. No.
Well, then, maybe the last little bit when we were talking about Corey wasn't very exciting because,
No,
you
I
know,
was just talking about like something that we experienced.
It's understandable. You would find that to be lukewarm. We just happen to both wear green. There's no other reason for it than that.
I'm like a huge fan of these dresses. I have this dress in like 3 other colors. They were like super comfortable, and this would just happen to be the one that I wore today.
Probably Rachel's dress would look better if I weren't wearing green. Now that I think about it, but I haven't thought about that before this second. Teal, I'll go without teal, thanks. I don't need a lot of teal in my wardrobe.
No, that doesn't suit you.
Teal's your middle name? Well, better as a middle name than it is as the color of a shirt.
Or as a name of a guru.
Right, yeah, you don't want teal swan in your life, that's for sure. If you think you can have more teal swan in your life and benefit from that, you're wrong. Teal swan is a wrecking ball of narrative harm-doing TE bullshit. Her deck of cards is so negative.
Yeah, it really is. I didn't even bring it with us.
Good riddance. Good riddance, Teal Swan. I think Teal Swan's probably an
ENTJ.
ENTJ.
ENTJ. ENTJ.
But, whatever she is a huckster.
I did have it, but I left it in Arcadia because it did not make me happy. I did not feel happy getting those cards.
This is what's wrong with you and what you need to fix.
Yeah.
This is where like every one of the cards was like.
Yeah.
It's such a TE frame. It's ridiculous.
Oh my gosh. Hero Land, that is like ridiculous. Your old friend Melissa Talks made a short where she's passive aggressive saying anyone who pays to be typed is a sucker.
That's fine. It's not like I like to work.
People do. I mean, I paid for it, and thank God I did because it got me closer to my type than any of the self-testing did. Self-testing, I consistently typed ENFP, except for on a socionics text once I got ENFJ. Every other type ENFP, and I'm not ENFP because of the testing. Hey, Ruben R.
I mean, the thing is, she'd be a sucker to get typed because she doesn't want to know what type she is. She wants to tell everybody what type she is.
I mean, if you put me and my dad and interviewed us, we have the same affect because we're both nines. So our ways of fighting are the same, but we are very different.
Oh yeah.
My dad, like.
So yeah, I'm sorry.
No, continue.
Young Sly Boy. Yeah, I will make music again. I'll start recording music again at some point. I'm not right now, and I don't have any exactly reason why, except it's only not, well, we were doing pre-wedding stuff. I had the wedding on my head all the time, Not bad.
It's fire. And Ruben R., I would encourage you to continue listening to it. Start with the songs that you like the most and then grow into it.
I didn't make it with some other guy. I sampled somebody talking in a Raw Room video. I used that sample. You should, Acacia. You'll see me and Rachel there.
Yeah. You really should consider going, and then you can hang out with us. It'd be fun.
Yes, there's exactly the same thing. It's just a different word, it's socionics going like, why are we using 4 letters when we could convey this in 3? So, yes, you can convey it in 3. And the socionics name is a fine enough name, but it's exactly the same thing as its MBTI correlate name. There's no difference. There's no such thing as Mya in MBTI and Mya in socionics. Yeah. That's bullshit.
That's what it has on Personality Database. It has me as an INFJ, also, but in socionics an ESFJ.
That's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
So many people think I'm an ESFJ. Like, I display FE because it's my tool function.
No, Eric Moore, that's not the original reason I started my YouTube channel. I started my YouTube channel as basically a philosophy musings channel where I was thinking about philosophical stuff out loud, basically, with more or less no regard whatsoever to whether or not it was watchable as a video. I was just kind of taking notes and uploading them, mental notes and uploading them, you know. But then I'd periodically make videos where I just talked about something interesting I was reading about or whatever. And I started reading about MBTI stuff and learned about cognitive function, started talking about that. One of those videos got very successful, and uh, and I proceeded on. But like my very first videos are actually like travel videos from Wuxidong, China when I was in China. Those are my very first videos. That and one, oh, actually, my very first video might have been Rapping Eric. So I put up a music video. But from the very get go, this channel was not ever anything in particular to the extent that I, uh, I thought for some period of time it might become something in particular. I thought for a while after I named it Talking with Famous People that it might become an interview channel, but I found it much more difficult to find people to interview than I expected. Last time you were in San Luis Obispo, you got COVID? Yeah. It's not spelled like whooshy like that, but that is how it's pronounced.
So you first signed up for YouTube in 2014, right?
I think I first started uploading videos in 2014. I think my actual sign-in date is 2012.
Oh wow.
But I think for 2 years I just occasionally watched a YouTube video. I don't think I uploaded anything.
You are the curve surfer, because I found out that I joined 2014, and I thought it was way later for me.
I mean, I didn't have any genius plan to make money from MBTI. What happened was I just started talking about typology, and then I had various conversations where people wanting me to try to tell them what type they were, and gradually I started developing with a lot of trial and error and a lot of exposing my ideas out to the community with INTPs correcting things, INTJs correcting things, or whatever. Eventually, it kind of refined into a process that started to work, and I got bored of doing it for free. So I started charging money for it, you know. I was not in a basement. I was either at Temple City, or I was in Laverne, or I was in Arcadia, or I'm here. That's all the places I've lived during the time that I've been on this channel, and none of them were a basement.
Thank God you did typing, because I always was looking into personality types, and like you guys have said it before, I'll say it again, like I was completely off with my self-assessment.
It was a garage. I would be out in the garage, as I still to this day am out in the garage fairly often because I smoke, you know, and so I could smoke in the garage. So that's why I'd be out in the garage.
I found Eric because of Enneagram stuff. And then I got into the cognitive functions, but I was not very knowledgeable about cognitive functions at the time. I knew very little.
Yeah, if we were to be outcome oriented with talking with famous people, we'd make type police videos like once a week, as high production as possible, limit the amount of other content we put out, and grow like that, right? But the thing is, first and foremost, this channel is and always has been my autobiography. It's everything I think, everything I do, everything I make.
Keisha, did you say that you wanted? I have something pink that I can change into.
I have been to Eureka, and no, what you're talking about is Arcata, or I think something like that, but it's not the same place. Arcadia is different than the one that's up there next to Eureka. I think that's just it's Arcata or Arcata or something like that, but it's not Arcadia. It's a different place.
Wait, Acacia, are you talking about Johnny? Like, he dated Doja Cat? Is that who you're talking about? My
No,
mind is like
Jan
blown.
Jams, I think I'm SXSOSP blind, but I don't really believe the third one's blind anyway. I think that it's just you go in that order, you know. I think I'm SXSOSP.
What do
I
you
think
think I am?
you're also
SX.
SX. That's why we're so together at the hip. Is we're both fundamentally people who want to be in a long-term two-person relationship. That's SX. If
Oh my gosh,
if
my
you like
mind's
to keep distance
blown.
between your partner and yourself, and when you're in a relationship, like each maintain your own shit, you're probably SP. And if your relationship is a central cast member and you're going to larger group gatherings or engaging in larger groups, then you're SO. All three types might get in relationships. Only SX is the type that fundamentally wants to be and is only comfortable in a long-term or monogamous relationship, you know? That's why there's no there's neither the self-preserving nor the social aspect trumps the relationship in both people's minds. Then you got, if they're then also super compatible typologically and otherwise, well, then you got a perfect storm of mia, and then you have what they call in the movies love, true love.
I if I think Doja Cat is some sort of SFP, and like that makes so much sense because I'm like I had an intuition that he dated an SFP.
Who dated an SFP?
Johnny.
Oh, you think that's why tends to be have this like love so crazy thing?
Mm-hmm.
That might be the case. That's not a bad intuitive leap to make.
Doja Cat dated Johnny. Yeah, I think she's ESFP too. Oh my god, I knew he dated an ESFP. I knew it. It just resonated so hardcore.
Who's Doja Cat?
She's some rapper chick. Yeah. Yeah, Johnny Utah.
Well, the thing about is he changed his name from Johnny Utah just to Johnny spelled with a W like that, you know. Let's go out to the garage and smoke a cigarette. This is Heineken alcohol free. Note that, of course. I'm not drinking alcohol.
More than sure, George is not. Doja Cat, man.
Okay. I'll tell you what I'm going to do for you all as a gift to the people. Okay? As a gift to the people, I'm going to turn down this fan so it's not so much background noise.
That is a gift to the people.
We'll still get a little background noise. But maybe if I turn the mic away from the fan, we'll be better off too.
I don't really have any opinion of Doja Cat, just that I, think she's an ESFP too. And,
I think Dominique Young Unique is also an
ESFP, yeah. They kind of like buy the scene.
I think Lil B is probably also an ESFP. Although, I guess I would recommend that everybody should probably watch Wonton Soup one time, just because it's so ridiculous. Or maybe some other thing of his a couple of times, because you just realize, what in the world is this guy doing with his life?
I can't. It talks too much about stuff
I
that
know,
makes
it's
me.
really crass.
Yeah. It's like, makes me sick to my stomach.
Well, we don't have to worry about it. We don't have to listen to it anymore. Everything's gonna be fine. We don't have to ever encounter that awful person.
Thanks. I don't mean to be like all feminist and stuff. It's just.
I felt the same way about it. It was awful, you know? It was funny once
Yeah.
if it was intentionally over the top, but if he's doing it all the time, it's just like awful, you know? So I don't know what else to tell you about it, but
Oh, that makes complete sense. You reassured me. That's all I needed.
good. So I'm not exactly sure what we're gonna do this evening. I feel like I got some more cleaning up to do and stuff. You know, in the aftermath of Corey's visit, there's lots of cleaning up to do. Like I gotta move all the regular beers out of the fridge and put them in the garage out here.
They'll stay fine, right? For when it
Oh
comes
yeah,
out?
they'll be fine.
Cool.
It's just they're taking up space and they don't belong in there, you
Yeah.
know. So. I could really do a general trash management hour or 45 minutes or half an hour or whatever. Like cut up that box, gather this trash, put it into a trash can. If I go around the house, pick up other trash, put it in the trash can. I could put that thing back up in the attic where it goes. You know. Those kind of things would probably be good things to do. By improving our lives through the fine art of cleaning. That's right, cleaning.
I feel like I don't want to.
You'll note, at no point did I say anything about what Rachel was going to do.
I guess I'm just a little jealous because I wish I was in the mood to do stuff.
Obviously, what I'm in the mood to do is talk about cleaning, because that's what I'm doing. We'll see if that translates into actual cleaning. It is pretty hot today.
It's nice and cool in our house.
Yeah, it's not so hot inside the house at
It
all.
really keeps it so cool.
Yeah. So, we'll just have to see what the afternoon brings. I do know that I want to watch the women's U.S. national team play against lowly Vietnam tonight at 6 o'clock. Vietnam, if you're not familiar with women's international soccer, I believe this is the first time Vietnam's ever made a World Cup field, and that they only made it because they expanded the field to 32 teams. Had it been 24, I don't think they would have made it. The only other team I can think of that could possibly be worse in the field is Haiti. Haiti also made the field, and they're a very shitty team. But in the last World Cup, in the first game, the U.S. played a very shitty team, like one of these two teams, and they won 13-0. So what everybody's saying in the news is, well, those days are gone. There's more parity in women's soccer now than there used to be. Vietnam's not going to get beat like 13-0. Well, I'll believe it when I see it. I suspect that the U.S. national team will do to Vietnam what the U.S. Army did to Vietnam back in the 70s. Personally, I like watching soccer blowouts, especially if it's the national team. Like, I like to see a lot of goals, you know? So I don't mind if it's a blowout. I'm kind of hoping it's a blowout. Regardless, like,
I'm hoping for a blowout too,
but you know, like every other country, it seems like in the tournament, except Japan, I'm assuming, all these teams, these different countries have people from America on them. Like, we were watching Switzerland play the Philippines earlier, and the Philippines had like at least 2 or 3 Americans on their team, including their goalie, who have some sliver of Filipino heritage or whatever, you know. I don't think the Swiss had any Americans that I noticed, but they may have as well. I didn't remember the commentator saying anything like that about any of the Swiss players, but Switzerland ended up winning that game. But the sad game, the saddest team right now is Costa Rica. Because Costa Rica lost 3-0 to Spain, but they had 2 own goals. At the time, they counted one of those own goals as not an own goal, but I believe, having watched it, that it was definitely an own goal, and they will score it accordingly eventually. So that's got to be pretty sad for Costa Rica. But you know, maybe they'll do better in the next game. Messi joining Inter Miami is bigger news than Women's World Cup. I'm not interested in the size of the news, as I am interested in instead the excitement of the sporting event. I'm very excited about the Women's World Cup because I find it at least as entertaining as the Men's World Cup. And the reason is because, first of all, the level of play at the highest teams is comparable to men's level of play. But most of all, they're not big faker pants earthquakers like the men are. They're not as bad about it. The men, anybody touches a man on a soccer field like this much, they fall to the ground, writhing in agony and screaming in pain until somebody comes and sprays some magic spray on their arm. That's how much pussies male soccer players are. They're history's biggest pussies, okay? Nobody can dispute this. If you want to assemble a group of history's biggest pussies, just put all the top international male soccer players in a room together. All you have to do is barely brush their clothes, and they will fall to the ground, violently writhing around and screaming in agony. So that's one thing I do not like about male soccer, especially the Italians. They're the worst about it. The Italians, it's like they're the dirtiest playing team ever.
Okay, so that they're probably histrionic, like that drama that they have, Italian men. Seriously.
You think that all Italian men have histrionic personalities?
Like most of them. Mm-hmm. The way they whistle at women down the street.
Well, I'm a little bit offended because I have never had an Italian man whistle at me. Am I not pretty enough?
That's a good question. I'm sorry. Maybe if we go there in another life.
Because if they're going to whistle at me, I'm going to challenge them to a whistling contest.
Ooh, that's a good come back.
Okay. Okay. Well, if you think you can whistle, how about this? You want to show off your whistling ability? Is that what you're doing? You know, and if he says, no, I'm trying to say I find you attractive. That's not how you express that sentiment. By whistling at me. What am I, a dog? You know, that's what I'd say.
You would be like, that would be the best argument ever.
I mean, look at you, you horrible person. You see me coming up to you and going, wah, 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 wah.
Yeah. So rude.
Even though that sound would be appropriate for you, I don't go up to you and make it. Yes, I'm hot. So maybe in an appropriate world, there'd be a sound of like church bells over me all the time. Like ding dong dong dong, ding dong dong dong, like that Disney movie, you know. But they're not. And even if there were to be the appropriate sound, I don't think that would be the appropriate sound for me being hot. That's just a piercing, sharp sounding whistle. You're matching sound and reality poorly. You're imposing your worldview on me in an unasked for fashion. And I am not doing the comparable to you. But I will now. So, wah, 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 wah. And good day, sir. And then I walk away like that.
I would video record that, hands clap. Or go, woo!
You know.
It's so good. Because, like, me as a 9, INFJ, I'd be like, oh, thanks.
But go back to Italy. We are in Italy. I'm going to stay in Italy. That's what I'd say.
I like that.
I'm sure it's not just Italian men who do that. There's probably some other culture of men who do that too.
They're known for it. It's not a lie. Like, they are known for being swarthy.
You know, what's interesting is that's not actually what swarthy means.
Oh.
I used to think that too. Swarthy meant like uncouth, etc.
Yeah, uncouth. They are very uncouth.
It's actually a color of skin word.
Oh.
And it refers to people who are not very white.
Oh.
That's what literally it means.
Did not
I
mean
didn't-
to use it that way.
I didn't know that's what it meant either.
Oh man.
But that's its literal definition.
I mean, the only other, they're like slimy.
Right. Because of the association of that word with villainous characters
Yeah.
throughout the years in old movies and stuff, I've also thought swarthy meant like unsavory, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't at all. It just refers to a color of skin that's less white, and that association has been built so much over the years in the olden days
Oh.
that it has that connotation now for a lot of people, I guess.
I take it back.
Yeah, well, I had the same experience you had there. I had to learn that it doesn't actually mean that.
And like, this is coming from, I guess I'm 3rd generation Italian.
But you are not swarthy at all.
No.
Some Italians are more swarthy than others, like in terms of kind of like Spanish, or some of them are more swarthy than others.
My grandma racistly would say that the Sicilians were more like that. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's important, if you're going to be racist, to be racist within your own race as well. Then at least you're being consistent.
But she was on ISFJ too, kind of like how your mom didn't like.
Yeah, my mom didn't like Mexicans.
Yeah.
My dad was strangely not racist. My grandma, my mom's mom, she didn't like black people. And, you know, she was known to use some words that aren't really considered acceptable to use anymore.
Wow, it's crazy that the language is.
Certainly my relatives in Louisiana did. When we visited them, boy, I was introduced to a whole new level of racism. And, even as recently as the time that I went to Birmingham, Alabama for a debate tournament, which was like 7 years ago or something like that, it's still crazy racist down there. It's weird. Like, very segregated. As I've told before, I've watched as debate team after debate team went through security until security pulled out the one black kid and searched him, even though it's in all the debate teams, Chinese kids, white kids, Indian kids, none of whom get stopped, and then the one black kid who's like on a team from New York or something gets pulled out of line. I couldn't believe it. Like, and the debaters around us also were kind of like, "What in the world?" That's Birmingham, Alabama for you. Well, that one looks suspicious. Oh, what makes him look suspicious? Well, it's some quality I can't quite identify, but something about him seems suspicious. He's different than the other ones somehow.
I'd be like, so why is he different from me?
You're fine. Go on, move on in line, ma'am.
Thanks.
Right. Exactly. It was so strange. It was surreal. It was so surreal. I like didn't even think about doing or saying anything. Because I was on the other side of the thing too. I was already on the other side of the thing. But anyway, it was like the kid didn't seem distressed by it. He seemed like almost amused. Like, you got to be kidding me, right?
Yeah, good for him.
As like pretty much everybody, because everybody's leaving Birmingham, coming from major cities for their debate teams, and it's not like that, right?
Yeah.
So, it's like we're coming from debate tournaments where people are running race critiques on things like.
Wow.
So it's it was surreal. I just couldn't believe it. Seeing the fucking the section off black ghettos in Birmingham was nuts too. It was just like, oh my god, this is like on TV, like some police drama from the '70s kind of thing, you know?
It's very like that in New York.
Is it?
Long Island in particular. Like, you can be in where I grew up, Franklin Square, drive 15 minutes, and you're in like a ghetto called Hempstead, where like you have to be careful if there's like gun stuff, but it's predominantly African American, and that's because of income stuff.
Well, I mean, in Birmingham, it was like explicitly like I got lost getting back to my car and walked through one of these ghettos and was I was approached by like all these people came out to the fences and started like yelling things at me, like trying to sell me stuff or whatever. I didn't even know what they were talking about. They were using words I'd never even heard before. And I hurried, it was like 2 blocks. I hurried up to the end of the 2 blocks, and then there was this bar where there's a good old boy sitting out on the porch of it, and I went there like, I'm sorry, I am lost. Can you help me find my car? And that was kind of scary. And they're like, oh, as long as you stay on this side of the street, they won't bother you. And sure enough, it's like I went on the other side of the street on the sidewalk, walking back, and on the other side of the street was the same ghetto, and nobody said a word to me. It's like, well, how did this like unofficial rule happen or something? You know, it makes you wonder what the hell's going on down there. But it's also the case that walking through that 2 block stretch was scary.
Oh my god, I was just gonna ask you if you were worrying.
Well, sure. I was on my phone trying to figure out where I left my car, looking at the map, you know? And I had this big van. And it's like, at the night we were going to like the cool downtown part of Birmingham with the cool restaurants and stuff. Well, it doesn't have very good parking. It's kind of like old townish, you know? And all parking spots are small. I can't find any spot for this big van that I'm driving. So I have to drive way over here. But I walk this way on the way over, this long way around. On the way back, I think, oh, I just cut diagonal through, you know. That was not a good idea. I should not have attempted that.
But how are you to have known?
I don't know, but I should have known that, Eric, you're not good at figuring out shortcuts anyway. You're probably going to get lost. You've never been here before. You're just assuming that there's a way to cut through that because this street looks like it suggests there might be a way to cut through, you know? I should have thought those things, but I'm just as glad I made that mistake. Nothing bad happened, and I got that interesting story to tell and that interesting experience. So, and then when I went back to pick up Candace, they were keeping her inside the restaurant because they said it's not safe to sit outside after this area closes down.
That was nice of them.
Yeah, well, obviously, it was obvious then that we didn't know anything about Birmingham and how it was. Very similar, but much fewer, a much smaller population of black people was where we went in Tennessee for TOC. I forget what that place is called. It's at some university. It was not the University of Tennessee. I forget what it's called, that place. It's a college town. It's a cool college town. But they did have a small ghetto area that was similarly weird. Like, what is this? It's totally different from every place else around, you know? And totally isolated and segregated.
Baltimore's like that.
Los Angeles isn't like that.
No.
But, you know, Los Angeles is falling apart for reasons unrelated to racial tensions.
Yeah.
I think it's fair to say that it may be possible to live well in a high density population somewhere, but Mariposa seems to be proving to me that low density, low amount of government, high amount of respect for private property and stuff, it leads to a good life. And I don't know what to do about that because, after all, there are, as Paul McCartney so eloquently said one time, too many people. And you got 7 billion people in the world, or 400 plus million people in America. That's a lot of people. And oases like these are increasingly rare where there's just kind of this basically free attitude and also a community like sense of kinship because the population is small enough that you can feel that way. Like when I went into the pizza place and she's like, local? I'm like, yeah, and she gave me some kind of a discount. So you could tell because, for one thing, we fit in so well around here. I'm like a old white guy with missing teeth. Um, but also, I think just because you can just see this sort of relaxedness in people, this comfort in who they are, where they are, what they're doing, that seems absent in other places. You know, there's a belief that Mariposa is great as it is, and a resistance to any kind of things that would change it. Unlike, what county is Oakhurst in?
Madeira?
Madera. Unlike Madera County, which allowed a bunch of development in order to maximize on the revenue from Yosemite tourists, Mariposa hasn't done that. We don't have these uh, resorts that are there to capitalize on Yosemite tourism, even though we're as close or closer to Yosemite than um, Madera County is. So it's like Mariposa County is called the grandfather or grandmother of counties or whatever because it shed all of these other counties that started doing stuff that wasn't pure and simple. And now it's one of the smallest counties in the state, but it's without a doubt one of the most free, for sure, if not the most free county in the state. I mean, it's got to be. We have not one stoplight. We got a sheriff's department that basically just makes sure people aren't flying down the hill.
Which is great.
Yeah,
like,
which is great. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like we got fiber optic. Fuck. I didn't call the telephone company again.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I didn't expect you to remind me. Like if I really want to make sure I have enough, put it on the calendar. We got fiber optic to our house. Now they came and connected it from the road to the house, and I believe if we call Sierra, we should be able to upgrade to high-speed internet like we had in Arcadia. Meanwhile, Corey's in Temple City, and he still doesn't have access to fiber. How crazy is that? Yeah, that's what we were talking about the other night. It was like how he can't. They haven't run it down to his house yet.
Wow.
And he's in LA, in Temple City, which isn't that like isolated or anything at all.
It's not.
It's right in the middle of everything. Sierra Tel's fantastic. In contrast, the garbage company is not very good, but I like the fact that we don't have to deal with the garbage company directly. We can just put money on our extra trash and the guys will take it away. You can't do that if the guy's stuck in a truck with a grabber thing lifting it up, you know? So, you know, we live in a place where when we hear gunfire, we're not worried at all.
No, like it was actually kind of nice to hear on the 4th of July. I was like, oh wow.
Right, people out exercising their Second Amendment rights. Good job. I'm not worried that they're being reckless. I'm not worried about it at all. It's often in the forest, in the national forest, where you're allowed to shoot guns as long as you're 500 yards away from a dwelling, and nobody thinks twice about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Les doesn't seem to approve, really, but that's fine.
Yeah,
Because
he doesn't. But he doesn't understand, like, well,
he makes all kinds of assumptions about us that are not accurate.
what does he assume about us?
That we're not, that because we're not like those people who drive these little wilderness cars and shoot guns in the wilderness, and that we don't drive one of these little wilderness cars and shoot guns in the wilderness.
Yeah, we don't.
Well, the thing is, what I'm saying is we do,
Oh,
right?
yeah, we do, actually.
He
Right,
assumes
yeah.
we don't, and that we don't agree with them on the Second Amendment because we don't have a sign out that says, "You take my gun from my hand, or out of my cold dead hand," or whatever that sign is. We're not like that. We aren't gun enthusiasts.
No.
And so he assumes because he's an FI tool user that our politics line up with what we like, right? It's true that we don't really like off-roading and shooting guns and stuff, but we believe in people's rights to do those things.
Yeah, like it was fun, playing with Cameron's little shot BB gun thing.
That's probably the most dangerous thing we've done
Yeah.
because that thing was ricocheting all over the
Oh
place.
my god, for real. But I feel better. Like I'd like to practice more with it, but I felt like comfortable after him teaching me how to look through it and stuff because I never learned that.
Right. Well, it remains the case that you and I are not into shooting guns. And we do like having this little wilderness car. I'm super happy we have it. But we probably aren't going to make a bunch of dusty trips out into the wilderness for no reason, right? If it's the right time of year, maybe it's been a nice rain, autumn's just coming in, I could totally see us going out there and enjoying some wilderness. But we are not on a mission to explore all the wilderness available to us, go camping, go hunting, doing any of those kind of things. That's just not who we are, right?
Alright.
We like to be comfortable, and the wilderness, even if you have tents and sleeping bags, all that stuff, is fundamentally, unavoidably less comfortable than right here. So, I like to go fishing. I could see myself potentially going on an overnight fishing trip requiring us to go somewhere in a little car. But probably you'd stay at home. Maybe like me and maybe that guy from the catering thing. I could conceivably do that if it were a promising enough, pristine, isolated body of water that had fish in it and stuff. Okay, I could do that one time maybe.
Yeah, could you keep in contact with me when you go?
Or if I were to do what I'm talking about doing, I would not be able to because we'd be driving out to some isolated spot in the wilderness you can get to with this car, but that because I don't want to have to like hike into a truly isolated spot. That's a little. I could conceivably do that with somebody like that guy, right? Not just by myself. But the point is, by and large, I'm too old for that stuff now. If the opportunity arises to have some sort of magical wilderness experience by really going out and isolating for and spending a night out in the woods or something, then I would maybe take advantage of it. But um, it's unlikely for that to occur, and regardless, I'd rather conceive of some sort of thing that I can include you on it, you know? I don't think you'd want to go on an overnight thing. I think that's a little too hardcore for you.
Yeah, I'd be like, where am I?
Okay, well, I think I'm going to wrap this stream up. Do you think so? And we've got a soccer game coming on in supposedly 25 minutes. Um, I guess we could go inside and play a song or two before we wrap it up if you feel like it. I don't know. I'm feeling medium motivated. You know, not highly motivated.
That's good. That's good for a Friday.
Yeah. Oh, god damn it. Is that that's a live lizard? You catch it, stop putting these lizards inside the house. God. Okay. Let me go on, like a lizard in the sun. Let me go on. So here's the lizard that our
That most
cat,
likely, I'm guessing Capillo brought in.
one of the two cats, brought in.
Yeah, one of them.
It is now time for him to go back outside where he lives. I'm sorry our cats wounded you and brought you into the house. I wish you all the best. I hope you survive, but I have doubts. Oh no.
What happened?
This thing came out of here. It's not a big deal. I just have to put it back on.
Oh, well, I'm glad I had a dough.
Yeah, I'm glad to. Okay, so now we've removed the lizard from the house, which means, of course, we now have one fewer lizard, which you could consider a loss, but I don't really consider it a loss, even though technically having one fewer lizard means we have one fewer object, even if it's a living object in the house. Let's see how the old guitar is. That's so wildly out of 10.
I knew it. I was trying to tell Corey to use this app that I have.
No, it has a tuner
I
built
know.
into it.
I wanted him to use that too, but he.
What happened here? Yeah, this thing's so wildly out of tune. I had to tune it like 3 times. There.
Thanks, Urban R. Corey knows the correct, most universally resonant tuning. He was kind enough to tune your instrument to the universe.
Yeah. There. That's how you play Corey's song, everything. I never figured it out before, but it's like.
So nice.
It's just a good song, you know. Okay. Great songwriter, not such a great guitar tuner, apparently.
Not at all. Like the whole time I was biting my tongue. Like trying to tell him, I wanted to tell him, like, stop messing with it. Like, you're not doing it. It sounds so out of tune. And I have one ear that I can't hear out of.
I know, it's very tragic.
It's okay.
It's a very cloudy day
in Los Angeles. And today we run out of time. Troubles past, struggles still to come. The day is nearly done. Can someone buy us some more time?
Cloudy day in Los Angeles. Cloudy day in LA. I'm no sort of evangelist, but I have something to say. Life can strangely be forgiving to those who stay awake all night. And mostly voices say to give in. They'll try to sap your will to fight. But whether I'm supposed to be here or just be soon forgotten noise is sort of based on what I see here and also on what I've heard.
It's a very cloudy day in Los Angeles. And today we run out of time. Troubles past, struggles still to come. The day is nearly done. Can someone buy us some more time?
Cloudy day in Los Angeles. Cloudy day in LA. I'm no sort of evangelist, but I have something to say. Something to say.
Can we sing Say It Ain't So? 'Cause
Sure. Let me pull it up on the old medium, yeah. No, this isn't the right key. Okay. All right. Let's see. Somebody's honey is crowding my icebox. Somebody's cold one is giving me chills. I guess I just close my eyes.
oh yeah,
Alright, feels good inside. Flip on the telly, wrestle with Jimmy. Something is bubbling on my back. The bottle is ready to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I can't confront you. I never could do that which might hurt you. Try to be cool when I say this way. It's a water flows away from you because it's
Every day.
So be cool. Say it's so low. Your drug is a heartbreaker. Say it ain't so low. My love is a life taker. Dear Daddy, I write you in spite of years of silence.
You cleaned up, found Jesus. Things are good, or so I hear. This bottle of Stevens awakens ancient feelings. Like father, stepfather, the son is drowning in the flood.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I just ended there. My hand's tired.
You sounded great.
Thank you. You sounded great too. I mean, the thing is, it works best when you're singing and I'm playing the guitar because I can't quite sing it and play it right at the same time. So, yeah, that's a good song.
I have to get the this way
Is a waterfall away, a water slide away from me to take you big. Is a water slide away from me that takes you further every day. So be cool. This way is a water slide away from me to take you further every day. So be cool. Bang, bang, ch, bang, bang, ch. Say it ain't so.
My love is
It's a good song, right? I'm not worried about being on the receiving end of any big media attacks, okay? After all, I'm a good person. I don't have anything to hide or be ashamed of. I'm not doing anything wrong. I am a genuine patriot who wishes to serve the interests of the country to the best of my ability, provided I can be in a reasonable position to even consider the possibility of running a decent campaign. I have some sort of obligation to attempt it, right? When you remember that and keep that in mind, then you don't need to worry about me, right? I have the best thing of all on my side. The truth.
I'm surprised you're still talking about Trump.
I know. Why are you still talking about Trump? He's not the president. Hopefully he won't ever be again. Because Bobby likes to start shit. That's why.
Mm.
As simple as that. Bobby likes to start shit.
I'll tell you what New York feels about how New York feels about Mr. Trump. When I went back to New York, I took a walk in Manhattan and I passed by the Trump building. I didn't even know it was a Trump building. I just happened to pass it and it smelled like urine because people were peeing on the building. And like cops were there and stuff. They weren't stopping it.
Here's the thing. Okay, look. You have to decide if you are foremost going to be angry or if you're going to be an adult. If you are foremost angry and everything you say stems from that anger, is an expression of that anger, is an insistence that the problem is people aren't angry at the right people or something like that, then you are being a child and need to knock it off.
Yeah.
You may mask your anger as concern or whatever, but you're not fooling me. This is you expressing anger about the world in political terms. That is not how we do this correctly. So let's not play that game. That's not a good game. It destroys America. Accordingly, you should knock it off. Okay. Goodbye, good night, good luck.